Hi, this is Keith from Lands and Grooves. Today we're going to be covering the question, do you carry a Glock 43 still? The reason for this video is a lot of my friends still carry this particular firearm, the Glock 43. The 43, when it was introduced in 2015, was a revolutionary gun. It weighed 17.95 ounces, carried 6 rounds in a magazine, 1 in the chamber. Super slim weapon, extremely slim, and you had all the Glock variety of springs you could buy, slide releases, extended takedowns, all those other parts, and the sites were readily accessible to for purchase anywhere. I mean, you could literally go Glock store, eBay, Amazon, and buy all the parts for this gun. So this became a really configurable gun, such as an AR. So people bought this gun and people carried it, and it was a great gun. I still have. This was the first one I bought, and I still have it. I had trouble parting with it because it is such an accurate gun. This gun can shoot earlobes off a B-21 target. It's just something about the twist on the barrel, the size of the gun. It is extremely accurate. But what began to bother me with this particular gun was not the reliability. It was extremely reliable and easily concealable. When you start thinking about it, you realize that you have 6 rounds in the Glock magazine and 1 in the chamber. You have 7 rounds total capacity. And even if you carry another magazine, you're up to what, 15 rounds, give or take? So the capacity began to be a problem when guns such as the 365 was introduced. This gun weighs 18 ounces on the nose, where this one weighs 17.95 ounces. And if you look at their sizes, they're extremely comparable. If anything, I would say that the SIG is slightly shorter, maybe just as narrow, and the grip is on this gun, I don't know if you can see it in frame, the grip seems just a little bit shorter on the SIG, not by much. So when the 365 came out, a lot of people decided to get rid of their 43. The 43 does have still a following, however, it's kind of changed. Same followers that followed the 43 and really cared for it deviated a lot of them and moved to the 365 or the 43X. The 43X has a longer grip and it is certainly more comfortable. However, it does have a few issues that the 43 did not have, and we'll cover that in a minute. So the 43 weighing 17.95 ounces with its 6-round mag began to bother people, so aftermarket companies began to come out with extensions, and I believe this is a Vickers +2, so that brings you up to 8+1. But with that extension, you see the gun gets much longer and it's going to flag small in the back in your concealed carry. So to give you an idea, compare the difference in size to with the extension, this is a 10-round SIG, and I'll put the mag in it, 365, the 10-round, and we'll line the slides up. You'll see that the extended mag from Vickers, it fits great and is well constructed, but it does stick out about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch farther than one more round SIG magazine. So being that this is a single stack magazine created definite troubles for the 43. And Glock, as great as they are, the company in general is a little slow to react. So the 365 began to gobble up market share, and the 43 began to get showing up at the used gun center, a lot of the trade-ins. So Shield Arms, and I'm not sponsored by any of these companies here, but Shield Arms decided to try to level the playing field. And they created one for the 43X, which we'll cover in a minute, and this is for the 43. So this is a 9-round extended mag, single stack as well. So you have 9 + 1, so you get 10 rounds in a 43, which is, I think, quite acceptable. But again, if you take a look at you compare this 9-rounder to the 365, it is still about maybe a 1/2 to 1/4 inch longer with this extension that sticks out from Vickers. I'm sorry, from Shield Arms. So the Shield Arms mag is still a little longer. Keep in mind, it's still shorter than the one with the extended from the Vickers, but it's still, so you got 1 more round than this one. This one here, you got 8 rounds, so you got 9, and it's still a little shorter. So they're getting closer to where they wanted to be, but being that it had such a narrow grip, narrow mag well, they kind of got stuck with what they could work with and extended out the bottom. They couldn't go 1.5 stack. So the 43, people that carried it either transitioned to Shield Arms mags, which are extremely reliable, great magazines, great upgrades. They had a gun that they trusted and they didn't want to deviate from that. So as long as the mags ran good, they felt comfortable. Some people just weren't happy and transitioned out to the 365. And they stayed away from, a lot of people stayed away from going back to a higher capacity, such as the Glock 26, which again is a much thicker gun than any of these on the table, and the 33, which is also on the frame as the Glock 26. This just happens to be chambered in 357 SIG, which is a personal favorite caliber of mine. It is extremely snappy compared to the 9mm in the same frame. So these guns are almost identical in size and weight, but the 357 SIG has one less round and is much more snappy, I would say. But it certainly has improved speed and speed and energy. So I do like both of these guns. That's why they're still around. Now, the people that did not like, they're not a SIG fan, or they don't like the mechanism of the 320/250/365, they wanted to stay with Glock, and they're Glock people, and I completely respect that because I like SIGs and Glocks, but I would not sell my 43 because it's such a quality weapon. And it doesn't have some of the options that the other guns have, like rails and things like that. For 2015, it was on point. As time moved on, it just kind of fell out of favor. So moving on, came into the marketplace the Glock 43X, which this again too was a single stack magazine with a very thin mag well, and it's held 10 rounds plus 1, so that gave you a total of 11 rounds, where at best this is going to give you 10 rounds. So once you get to that point, you put these extended mags in and you look at the size, these guns are almost identical in size. They were trying to achieve a certain goal of that 10 round capacity. They kind of fell short a little here on the 43, but they achieved it with the 43X. Having that 43X, they really extended the grip quite long. So this creates a little bit more of a problem in the concealed carry area. I will say this 43X, even with 10+1, is an extremely reliable gun. They did not put a rail on it. I love the grip. It's very comfortable. It's a very reliable gun. They put the front slide serrations on it. This one happens to be, I think, the splinter version, the paint job on it. But again, you can get all the upgrades, the extended thumb release, mag release, all that stuff like that, and I put excess big dot sights on it. So this gun is extremely reliable. Love it. Again, in the back of my head, always rang kind of, for as long as the grip is, it's only got 10 rounds single stack, but it is narrow, so you gotta kind of weigh it out. So when Shield Arms arrived, and Shield said, look, we can strip the plastic off this, engineer our own mag that's reliable, they created this. This is a 15 round Shield Arms mag, and it's all made of steel. So it's definitely a well-built magazine. You can't see any weld seams on the back of it or anything. It's very sturdy. This increased this capacity from 10 to 15 rounds. So now you're putting yourself in the market of a 320 compact or a Glock 19, but you don't have all the heft and the size. So when you have a 15+1, this gun becomes much more appreciated for what it is. So I think, and again, like I said, Shield Arms doesn't sponsor any of these videos or anything like that. Neither does Glock or SIG. But I will say this Shield Arms mag has made this gun much more, I'd say, higher on my concealed carry list. If I can get away with it, I will hands down carry a 43X with 15+1 in an inside the waistband holster from Don Hume. And this gun is extremely slim, and it is a great concealed carry weapon. The downside to the Shield Arms mags is there's always a little catch. I say that catch because the magazine catch right here, must be made of a metal. The factory Glock ones are plastic, a polymer. And these magazines, Shield Arms recommends, because they have this little soft tooth design where cut through on the metal, that if you stay with the factory Glock magazine release, as you fire the weapon, it rattles back and forth, it will saw into the mag release and create an issue. When you're running polymer, and the slop is the same in both of them. This is the Glock factory one. So you will notice that when you use the factory mag, they said that this 10 rounder, if you're at the range or whatever shooting it, this metal mag release may bite into the factory mags. And I've noticed no problem shooting it at the range or anything, and I've noticed no damage on the Glock mags. But just so you're aware that when you switch to that 15 round Shield Arms mag, and they have a combo pack, I think, with like 2 mags, and it comes with this mag release. For the cost, it's not ridiculous. I think that it's, I don't know, you know, a good American company makes a good part. It's well worth it to put this gun back into play instead of saying, well, it's just a 10 rounder. Why would I carry this when I can carry this with a 10 or 12 round magazine and it's smaller? So for comfort, accuracy, follow-up shots and shooting, if you like the extended grip and you want a full purchase on the weapon, the 43X is certainly a great choice. As you see, when you go to 26, you're missing a whole finger here. Glock 33, which is the same frame, missing that pinky. 365, you can barely get some of it on. If you're running a 12 round mag, you could probably get it on there. And my hands aren't particularly big. I'd say I have average size hands. This 43X has been a great weapon. And with that 15 round, making it a real contender in my concealed carry arsenal, it has been moved up the list quite far, and I really do enjoy carrying the 43X. So, having said that, I do understand some people just believe and they have faith in their 43, and they like carrying it, and they believe it's going to save their life. And I'm just glad that people are carrying their firearms. When you carry your firearms, you can protect yourself and your family. And I think it's a very, very important practice to make sure that you carry safely. You carry in a quality holster, like We the People, Don Hume, Bianchi, even DeSantis, Galco. They all make great holsters. I'm not a fan of some of the I won't mention their name, but some of the lower end stuff that is like an inside the waistband. They give it by size, one size fits all kind of holster. Keep in mind, these loaded firearms, especially if you're around your family and you're doing something important, you're leaning over in your car loading groceries or doing something like that, if you don't have a secure holster, something, a positive click that locks in, and you pull it back out. So you want that positive click in this weapon. I prefer thumb brakes. I like thumb brakes a lot. Like these, if you're going to carry, a 2-loop. I believe this is a Don Hume, and Don Hume, I love the quality of their leather. You got to make sure that you're carrying a quality holster. So do yourself that favor if you've spent, for the 43X and then the mags, and you're $600 in with the Shield Arms mags, and buy yourself a good holster, because if you don't have a quality holster and don't feel secure, you're not going to carry it. And that goes in the same train of thought, that if you're going to carry a gun and you buy some big 15 round, you say I'm buying a Glock 17 because I really like Glock 17s, or a mid-size, or even a full-size Glock SIG 320. You go, that's what I want to carry. I want the capacity. I want the 19 round mags. People often, they think of this and they want to carry this many rounds. So they really want to go, well, I need 25 or 30 rounds. You don't need 25 or 30 rounds. What you need is to make sure you carry the gun. So if you don't carry the gun, it can do you no good at home in the nightstand. It will not protect your family. It won't do any good for you at all. So having covered all this, I think we're just basically going to reiterate that if you carry a 43, it is a little dated. And that saying, it's not like it's not a reliable gun. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I think for its time, it was exceptional. It's an exceptional design, exceptional build. Glock did a great job with it, but times have moved on. At one point in time, people love the Ford Pinto too. So I'm not saying it's a Pinto, but the marketplace has moved on. So I can't see the sales of the 43 holding on too much longer. And even the 43X, I believe, struggled a little bit against all the variations of 365. I own all these guns on the table, and I think they are all extremely high quality and reliable. Like I said, otherwise I wouldn't own them. If they aren't reliable, out they go. So just keep in mind, be realistic. If you have a 43, it doesn't mean it's the end of the line or it's just a low capacity. You know, you say, I don't want to carry it anymore because I don't have enough rounds. You carried it for years and you felt it was reliable, so there must have been a reason for that. If that is the case, you know, and you don't want to spend the money on, say, shield arms, magazines for the combo pack, I can't remember how much it is. It's not a lot. It's under $100. But if you buy the 2 mags and you change out this one has had its mag release changed out to the metal one from Shield Arms. If you don't want to do that, you can always buy the Vickers +2 extension. Vickers stuff is great, no jams, no problems, comes with a spring, comes with a base plate, extremely nice. I think they're like 20, 30 bucks. You know, by no means would I put this out to pasture. Otherwise, I mean, this is my personal gun. Otherwise, I would have sold it a long time ago. But it is extremely great, reliable, accurate weapon. And I will keep it in my arsenal as long as possible until something really renders it redundant. So the argument could be is that the 365 has done that. I don't feel that as of yet, but there's still days that I will carry the 43. They are few and far between. But if I have my druthers, I'll carry the 43X. That kind of is an important factor in how many rounds you carry and is it reliable. And just be sure when you shoot any of these weapons at the range, you need to know this is going to be your concealed carry weapon on your person all the time, in your purse, you know, in your armrest of your truck. You want to make sure that you actually shoot the high quality, I know it's expensive, the expensive ammo, your duty ammo, your personal protection ammo that you carry in these magazines. You don't want to be at the range all day shooting ball ammo, which is full metal jackets, which loads very nice up the feed ramp. And then you buy something with a hollow point and the gun doesn't like it. And it jams. It goes up in, peels the copper back, and then either has failure to feed or slide won't go into battery, problems like that. So make sure after you're having a good range day, near the end of it, whatever new ammo you decided is the most reliable, you see all the TV reviews and YouTube reviews and you like the ballistics of it, you like how fast it is, 1250 feet per second, the muzzle energy surpassed what you used to carry, the expansion is excellent on it. You want to make sure that you shoot a couple boxes, and I know it's painful to shoot boxes of your carry actual ammo, but you want to make sure that your gun likes it with the angle of its feed ramp and out of the magazine, that it actually likes that. It doesn't create a safety issue. Because the last thing you'd want for your ultra reliable firearm, shooting all day long at the gun range, shooting ball ammunition, saying this gun is so reliable, so great, and then something go bad when a bad thing happens. Someone tries to hurt you, injure you, or your family, and the gun jams because you haven't taken the time to cycle through. It doesn't have to be 500 rounds of a hollow point ammunition, whatever you do carry, but just be sure, say it's Hornady Critical Defense or Hornady Critical Duty or Spear Gold.LE or whatever you carry. Make sure that you run an acceptable amount of rounds through to where you feel comfortable. If you have 3 or 4 magazines, run 3 or 4 magazines through it. Do slow shoots, try limp wristing the gun, making sure that you don't keep it locked out to see if it'll catch the cartridge or see if there's problems. Just make sure that you run that carry ammo through the gun to make sure that you are as safe as you think you are. So, having said that, we're going to wrap the video up. Post your comments below. And again, this is Keith for Lands and Grooves, and thank you for your time.